no. Oh no. Have 1500 damage. That has 1 million HP. Maybe I should play a different build. Mages suck in this game. Maybe I should grab a shield. Oh no! Patch has been out. Shields suck now. Oh! Also, secure parry sucks now. What am I ever gonna do? I don't know. What happened? What happened?
Right there.
Maybe my build isn't that shitty.
You should probably get caught up.
What's up, guys? Sorry for that cringy intro. So, I didn't really want to make a build. I made a video of this little bug with secure parry when I was still bugged. And it didn't really seem like a good basis for a build. And now that it has been patched, I'm very happy that I didn't. But I've been working hard to get a build online the last couple of days. Yesterday, all of a sudden, I saw the patch notes. I was like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? But it turned out that getting the healing isn't really a big deal right now. I say this right at the start. If you have Bulwark of Dawn, and you go with this specific update here that is slightly differently worded than the others, like we have increased healing rate, somewhere else as well, I think. Maybe it's just once. But yeah, the increased healing rate, it doesn't really do a lot. But the increases health regeneration per tick. It actually does exactly the same as the old bugged Siegebreaker did. So let me see if I can get rid of some HP real quick. It should do it. I mean, you full heal with this, so not the best demonstration. Boom. And yeah, the same happens if you have full HP, of course. So what is the build? As you could already tell by my very low average damage on the tooltip, this isn't a build about hits, this is a build about ailments. So yeah, Fireball. Why Fireball? Mainly because of this. Maybe I'll test this at some point. But yeah, what I've been trying to do, I mean, probably nothing new to anyone. I've just tried to get multiplicative damage bonuses as opposed to increased damage bonuses. So we start over here. I think where you start is a little bit up to everyone. I'm not sure if I'm done the best pathing ever. Probably possible to save a couple of points as well. But at the moment, damage seems to be fine. Of course, I'm only at tier 79 or something.
What do you want?
So it is gonna get harder at higher levels, but my gear is very shit right now. I'll go over the gear in a little bit. And also currently, this node is bugged. The node that is supposed to give damage over time crit So once this node is fixed, we can easily triple the damage of this build. So right now, I don't know, I haven't really counted my DPS or anything. I actually slightly messed up in that boss fight too. But I think it's definitely over 1 million. But yeah, once again, slightly messed up in that fight, so I didn't start out with my full damage. And one can still like pause the video and watch the boss HP disappear. It's definitely slightly higher than the 1.5k, 1.5k, 1.1k of these abilities would let you think. Okay, back to the tree. So, once again, if any of you guys can do like better pathing than I did, go ahead, have fun. But this is my passing for now, so I went through these. Percent damage isn't that great, but you can get cooldown on gear. Right now I don't have that much, but you can get way more than I have. Once again, my gear is pretty shitty right now. And this is percent damage, but this gets multiplied by quite a lot, because first of all, we have a 100% chance to inflict double the ailments, but then also here plus 2 ailment stacks inflict. So this 12% damage, the spell damage does nothing almost, because we also have these nodes. Minus 15 not over time, minus 15 not over time. But and minus 30 not over time. But yeah, the ailment part of it is pretty big, even though it's additive, because it gets multiplied by like 5 or something. And then of course we go into the ailment chance. Right now I'm sitting at 65%, and obviously with the amount of more ailment damage we do and the amount of ailments we apply per stack, you don't just apply one but multiple, you can always say either percent in ailment chance is multiplicative damage, and even technically speaking, percent in ailment damage is also multiplicative, even though it kind of isn't, but it actually is, because the ailments just get multiplied. So yeah, I grabbed this node because I feel like I just spend a lot of willpower at once, so it's really easy to deplete that. You can also work with willpower potions. These healing potions are kind of useless because of the way the Bulwark of Dawn works, but at the moment I'm not really using them, because you can't cast a skill and use a potion at the same time. Sometimes kind of sucks, so I'd rather be fluent and shoot my gun to get my willpower back, which isn't instant, so it's not as good as a potion, but it's more fluid in combat to do, and it does some additional damage as well. So yeah, if I grab that one node, it's kind of up to you. A lot of the tree is up to everyone, as long as you understand the basics of the build, which, I mean, the build isn't anything special or awesome. It's just there because I wanted to make a build. There, grab this. I didn't go through here, which once again is up to preference, but I feel like cast speed is better, and you get move speed on this one as well. But if one prefers to grab these nodes, then obviously don't grab this, grab these. And yeah, these are pretty obvious. Extra ailment stacks, extra chance, and additional ailment, and damage. Once again, ailment chance, maybe not that awesome, can be replaced, but it's pretty good. And I went with this. I kind of misspent this point not thinking about the fact that crits don't work with ailments right now. So that point probably not worth right now. It's very easy for me to get both buffs up because I use this for the lightning damage buff that you get extra on it. So yeah, probably don't need this node right now, but once this gets fixed, this is gonna be a massive node, the extra crit chance. It's honestly pretty nice. So right now I'm not spec'd into crit chance, so this is pretty low right now. But it goes up by quite a fair bit from 28 to 35. That's quite nice. Once again, as soon as this node gets fixed, this build will do about 3 times as much damage. At least. Okay. So, I also grabbed this over here just for the extra willpower. My pathing once again might not be ideal, but extra HP, rage cost, willpower cost reduction, always nice. And for me this seemed like the way that spends the least points. Cast speed is multiplicative damage for us, so 50% is pretty huge. Willpower just so if a boss has a lot of HP, well, you just can spend that on him. Also, of course, this makes the tree flexible once the whole crit issue gets fixed. We can just go in here. And over here. So, I didn't grab Leech yet. Right now it seems useless because of how this works. Right now it just instantly full heals you. But hey, this is pretty flexible, can always grab Leech. Didn't grab this one yet. This one is also of course something one can do because we have a lot of max rage because of these nodes. And we spend our willpower very quickly, so the rage goes up quite quickly. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it is something one can definitely take because it's along the lines. Same here, I haven't taken it, but it's not horrible. Same goes for this, by the way. It's really nice when you actually kill enemies, but if you fight a boss, you might not have this buff on you, so I felt like it's a little bit of a waste. And over here we have this. Haven't played around too much with it, but as you saw by that boss fight, it does seem to do quite a good job at actually completely negating damage if you take big hits, combined with the full heal from Bulwark of Dawn. Seems pretty decent, but more important to take this. This is pretty nice. Anointed ammunition refill whenever you deal a crit. And we have like 40% crit, but we also fire 2 projectiles, and also we have like the take damage going on, and this also hits. Like every now and then we do this. We just crit a lot, so anointed ammunition should almost always be at full, and I mean especially at a boss fight you're gonna go in with full. And it's some decent damage. It is just increased. But as you can see, 2.180 with it up, like 70-ish base damage, which isn't amazing, but as you saw from the boss fight, the tooltip damage is quite deceiving compared to the actual damage we do with all the ailments going crazy. Okay, I grabbed this because enemies are always in stasis. At the moment I do stasis with my fireballs and with this. Stasis chance seems somewhat low, it's 40%, but with the speed 2 of these things are ticking. And a fireball is also having the stasis chance, and like 2 of them coming out at the same time. yeah, trust me, enemies are always in stasis. So, increased damage taken to enemies in Passive Exile, this means pretty much multiplicative damage. I don't know if it's the same in this game, but I hope it is. Then, of course, this is the same thing. Enemies are always afflicted with stasis, so they're actually gonna take 100% extra damage, and I guess this, I'm not sure if this is an increase or actually more, but this is definitely a more. And I took this just like in combination with this and in combination with the full heal from this and somewhat decent HP pool. We have not put any points into toughness, this is all from items. Level 67. One can get way more HP with better items, and if one really wants to putting point into toughness. I haven't spent this point yet, this is something one can spend too. Then of course, extra ailment stacks, extra ailment stacks. Additional projectile. Now the minus 50% all projectiles damage might be somewhat bigger than these type of things with like damage is not damage over time, and like we have a couple of these, so these end up doing not as much because it's all additive, so it stops scaling very quickly. This one might be a little bigger because it's worded differently, it's projectile damage. But I personally think the extra projectile is nice. And of course, since this node is close by, and since this node is close by, this is an interesting one. I haven't tested it yet, but I assume 175% damage is also a lot. So yeah, tree is pretty flexible. Once again, most important things: ailments, 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 and then these kind of things, a little bit fluff on top that are entirely up to you if you want to take them. This one is a must, of course. The stasis is very important because that's another 100% damage. Once the crit node gets fixed and actually works with damage over time, obviously this is also gonna be a must. And this is also gonna be a must. But yeah, right now they don't work. I might make an extra video once this gets fixed, depending on how well received this video is. Yeah, that is a tree. Actually split my points between agility and wisdom, because this doesn't do too much for us. It is a higher number if you put all into one thing, like all into wisdom or whatever. But these percent chances go up slower, or they have decreasing, what's the word, effectiveness. They have like, the more you invest in them, the less effective they become. So for example, if you start out with a spell cast... Why the fuck is this? If you start out with a spell casting score of something like 10, is I think was my tree what I start out with, and you put only 100%, 100 points into agility, then it goes up from 10 to 20, so it's like 100 points invested, double the cast speed. It's quite nice, but once you start putting more points into it, it becomes less and less, and if you put all points into one single stat, then it's something like less than 1% per 50 points. So that's why I split them. Once the crit node gets fixed, I'm gonna be splitting between ferocity, agility, and wisdom. And once again, yeah, this will be a bit lower, but this almost gives us nothing anyway, because of the whole ailment build. My items are really shitty right now. That might sound like I'm trying to make the build look better or whatever. But I've been changing builds the last couple of days like a madman, trying out different stuff. My items are really shitty. This item is a very good example. Crit, hit chance, score, and ferocity, which is amazing if you have a crit build, but since right now the crit node for damage over time is bugged, these pretty much just give me HP, and I guess crits for my shitty 1.5k average damage. But yeah, an ideal item. Let's see if I have something better. This isn't quite ideal, but this item is a good example. So an ideal item definitely has a flat status ailment chance score on it, and wisdom is also pretty good. And cooldown reduction is really nice because of anomaly, which does a massive amount of damage with this build. But cooldown reduction is not as good as like wisdom, status ailment chance score. What else would be nice? Let's see. Most of my items are pretty crit based right now. The burn ailment damage, I don't know if you can have this on other gear pieces than a weapon. But this weapon is quite nice. It could be better. It could have like lightning damage instead of fist damage on it. Added lightning damage. Then it would be pretty insane. But the main stats we're interested in is what it gives us for our spells. So the burn ailment damage and the elemental ailment chance score is amazing. And the same for a catalyst. But of course you can have added damage to spells on those as well. The spell's critical hit chance score, once again, right now does nothing for me, but once the node gets fixed it will be quite nice. So yeah, look for wisdom, look for either percent ailment chance score, but those mainly on like weapon and catalyst, because those numbers are really high with 164%. Stuff like 26% is not that great. So rather look for flat status ailment chance score on pieces that are not weapons. And yeah, cooldown is nice to have. Once again, ferocity does almost nothing, occult does almost nothing. Elemental damage is nice, or like fire damage is nice, but these percent damages don't do that much for us. So definitely don't prioritize it, rather have like wisdom and ailment chance score on it. And of course the rings can have flat damage, which is nice. Which would be better if that frost damage was actually like fire damage, that would be amazing. This one only has one damage type on it. A lot of crit stuff on it, which doesn't do anything right now. So yeah, my items are not ideal. This ring is kind of interesting. I'm not sure if it's really a DPS increase on boss. I feel like flat added damage is better. Also having HP of course helps with survivability. But yeah, this is a ring, I guess for clear it helps. Something you can take, but then again there's also notes you could take for that. This one. But yeah, if you have the ring and want to use the ring, it's not bad as well. But on the rings, I'd personally definitely try and get the added spell damage and maybe even get some ailment chance score on it as well. Try and get HP everywhere. I used to switch back and forth and try out stuff, so I don't have HP everywhere at the moment. You can see there's resistance, there's resistance, there's resistance, not really HP. So you can get a lot more HP than this with zero investment in toughness. That's why I like the catalyst setup as well, because you can either get support nodes or defense nodes in it. If you get support nodes, you put on the fire gem, whatever the fuck it's called, the one that also gives you the fire damage. Well, if you have a staff, like I have some interesting staves here. I used to have some interesting rare ones too. But in total, they just give way less. Just because of the missing runes, like 3 as opposed to 6, but also since you can get the really big percent status airman chance, not just on one item but on 2. And as you can see, I got a little lucky with this pistol as well, with the burn ailment damage. So yeah, that's the items. I think I pretty much talked about most of the build as well. See, I haven't even spent all my points yet. Oh yeah, this skill isn't leveled very high as well because, as I said, I've been switching between different skills back and forth. So obviously there's gonna be one more point, and every level up gives damage as well. I think these go to 100. So obviously, as you can see, the average damage, very shit for us to do anything. Stuff like ailment damage is massive, ailment chance is massive. Crit right now doesn't do anything. Cast speed is probably best. Willpower cost, of course, so kind of like. But I think with the amount of willpower, cast speed is probably. Oh yeah, I normally haven't spent all my points either, I'm sorry. This is obviously the best. Go with that. Go with 2 vortexes. Pull in multiple times. Oh, this is crit. This doesn't really matter, crit isn't that horrible, but this is better, of course. Element damage, skill duration, multiple pulls, element. Fireball we have. Critical damage still here, I am sorry. Guess we make that willpower cost. Buff to deal additional damage. Projectiles, this is really good, the whole pierce thing. I also tested out the node where you get extra damage from pierce, but it doesn't work with the skill. It doesn't seem to work from the damage numbers because the skill doesn't have actual number of pierce. So I guess the game can't calculate it right now, but this is still really nice. Then ailment, I guess willpower cost. Until the whole crit issue is fixed. Once again, once this node works, crit is gonna be insanely good. And then this, I just have this to like spend oh wait, I don't actually do ailments with that. Pistol kind of sucks for that ability itself. But yeah, that's just because I like stats for spells more than I like the stats for my weapon ability. So we have the effect radius, which is nice. And we have each explosion cast a cluster, which pretty much means always the enemies get auto hit unless they're extremely far out of range, but usually they're always in range of these smaller grenades. And then this is just such fast spending of rage. Let's actually see the rage go to full. Then just press this for a second and boom, rage is gone, willpower is coming back. And it does a nice amount of damage. And that looks pew pew. And pew pew is good. And then once again, the most important one here, health regen per tick, because right now it's busted. I don't know if it's gonna get fixed and when it's gonna get fixed. But I think at that point Leech, if they also fix the crit node, then Leech will just do fine for us. But right now this full heals, so this node is very important. And then of course stuff like skill duration. The damage is really nice because also ailments. Healing rate, I guess, is kind of dumb. Could go like willpower cost or cooldown. Probably better. More duration. Follow the player. Resistance buff is up to everyone, I guess. I take it because some extra tankiness. Then of course, most important about this is just the buff. I don't really use this for damage. It also does decent damage because it actually does 2 elements that do damage. So technically it's better DPS than my fireballs, but then again we have the whole projectile stuff going on. So I pretty much just use this to cast the buff, personally. But up to preference as well. Alright. I need to end the video or it's gonna be too long. I hope I didn't leave anything out. Let's kill another boss.
Let me guess. You want a contract? Time for a nap.
Let's try to not mess up our combo this time. Let's see how much HP this boy has. Okay, 1.5 million. Messed up the start again because I don't know, I'm making a video. But I have played this for much longer than a day, so I'm getting used to doing everything in the right order. But still a little bit more than 1.5k damage for sure. I hope you enjoyed the build and have a good one. Bye bye.